Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast, where we explore creation, existence, and evolution from the inside of consciousness itself. Today is part 91 of the story of creation. So, welcome if you haven't been here before. And if you have, welcome back. So, we are in the midst of turning. The way they're showing me is turning the world upside down and inside out. And what that means is we're deconstructing all the lies that we've been telling ourselves really throughout our whole lifetime. And, it's not they really want to be clear here because, we've come to this place where we believe like lies are bad. They're horrible. Okay. And it's important to understand that lying, sure, if you're consciously doing it, no, it's not great. But what most of us are doing is we are lying to ourselves, but we're not doing it purposely and consciously. We're doing it because of who we've been taught to be. And if you allow yourself to come back to that place where you can honestly recognize that truth is more comfortable than a lie, then you're going to allow yourself to break this illusion down so much faster. And that's really, what we've been talking about. We've been really diving deeper into the systems that created, the dynamics of human existence and human society today. And this isn't what human society or existence rather looked like originally, right? There was no society. Society is, it's under control and manipulation, right? Because original existence, we didn't need laws and rules because we were self-governing. That means we understood our impact on existence itself. So not just your impact on the words you say or the actions you take on the immediate people in front of you, but it's understanding that you would have full awareness instantaneously of the impact on how that would contribute to evolution or if it would hinder evolution, right? So evolution, just in case you're wondering what we're talking about in that sense, what they want to be, really clear about is, and it's really cool because we've got second stream angelics here who are going to explain evolution, and they're the universal beings who hold the energy and space for experience, which makes sense because they're the ones who created evolution. Right? And so the opportunity for all of us to come in and have those experiences, right? So we've been taught through science that evolution is adapting to our circumstances, right? So that's what, if you look at it in scientific terms and, animals and how they adapt to the circumstances, universal evolution is understanding and recognizing that we have to continuously become more than we were before. And it's not because we're adapting to circumstances, it's because we're creating what has not ever been experienced before. We're creating new on a blank canvas. But that canvas is part of existence. It's part of the universe. And this is how consciousness expands. So consciousness it's like the Google of the entire universe, if you will, right? It's the recording, except it's true. It's not opinions and it's not perspectives and, it's not a bunch of research and knowledge. Okay. Consciousness is a record of every experience that has ever happened in existence. Okay. So people often talk about remote viewing and how they can go anywhere and see anything. What they're actually doing is what's the right energy here? Let me just feel into how they're showing me. Hmm, it's really cool because you're actually communicating directly with consciousness. And so what happens is you transport yourself vibrationally. Okay. So you follow a particular frequency, you set your intention to have an experience of something that has occurred in existence. It doesn't matter when, from the moment your soul was created. We've got a number of experiences, right? Where the creator, even in the story of creation, he gave you the opportunity to experience what it feels like to feel the creation of your soul, right? You can go back and experience any of those things, anything from the moment that creation itself was created, because all of it exists in consciousness. So consciousness is, I always think about it as this well, right? That holds every aspect of existence. But it's understanding that if you kind of treat it like Google, right? But it's understanding that you ask your question and you're going to receive the answer. And this is the part that humanity has a really hard time with. Because if you've been telling yourself any lies about existence, about whatever it is, yeah, it's even bigger than that. So if you have a question about, let's say you want to understand Jesus's story from beginning to end, and you want that direct from consciousness, from the source of how it happened, who was there, everything, all the details, okay? You have to be able, okay, to release every single one of your beliefs that aren't true. And this is what they were talking about how we lie to ourselves. Because the story in your head about the way things are your beliefs, but they're also filled with a whole bunch of lies. But you don't even realize it. It's not like you're consciously choosing, I'm going to lie to myself. It's recognizing that until you look at a belief you have, you don't know if it's a truth or lie. But most of us walk around and they're like, well, I know that. I know that. I know that. I know this is true. I know this is true. But do you really? How do you know? Because you read it in a book somewhere? Because someone told you at some point in your life when it was really important and it made a huge and significant impact and it changed who you be? So now you carry that as your truth? Still doesn't mean that it's actually true on a universal level and a universal perspective. Allowing yourself to access consciousness from a perspective of wanting to learn is the only way that you will achieve, well, the peace that you're looking for, because it's in the experience. Okay. So when you say to consciousness, this is the information I want, right? But if you're standing there, arms crossed on your chest, waiting for the universe to prove itself to you, the universe will never prove itself. It has zero interest in proving itself. It doesn't need to, because the universe knows that it holds exactly everything as it happened. It didn't manipulate anything. It didn't prove anything. It doesn't try to get you to see its perspective. It's just truth. It's just really simple. You're the one who has to want to see. And we don't want to see if it challenges beliefs that rock the foundation of the life that we've created. Okay? This is why we tell ourselves lies. This is why we become attached to lies. But it's also why we have a really hard time letting go of those beliefs that are filled with lies. Why? Because it means we have to change our perspective of existence, of the universe, and most importantly, our belief of ourselves. We have to be willing to change how we see ourselves in this world. And we've been trained, we've been raised with the belief that seeing greatness in yourself is vain. It is uncomfortable for other people. And so we don't want to see that, even though 100% that's the truth of existence, because there is not a single soul in existence that is not great and is not bound for greatness. So if you're not willing to see your greatness and understanding that you do have the impact, the ability to impact the entire planet just by being who you are, right? If you don't want to see that, you won't get truth from the universe. You won't see into the truth of who you are. Consciousness will not be able to exchange information with you. And that's where you're going to feel lost. You're going to feel alone. You're going to feel resentful. You're going to feel like, why doesn't God ever show up for you? He's always there. The entire universe is always there. But they can't communicate with you if you aren't willing to recognize your greatness. This is one of humanity's greatest challenges. It's also an intimate part of our relationship, particularly as a result of religion. Why? Because religion has led us to believe that there is one great God, whatever, one great God in whatever religion you happen to follow. And religion also teaches us that our God is better than someone else's God. It's more true. It's more accurate. And this is how wars have been created. That our God is more important, and then our people are more important. And the truth is, first I'm going to tell you, this makes me a little uncomfortable as Michelle to share this information, but I'm going to do it anyways. Why? Because they're telling me that this is what has to come through, right? So it's one of those moments where I can choose to pretend that this isn't really here and we'll just talk about something else, or I can allow the creator who's asked me to share the story of creation, I can allow him to speak freely through me in spite of my discomfort. Why? Because I know if he wants to share it, it's important. And it's important because it will impact how humans see themselves. And that is part of my intention for my life, is to contribute to and help humanity as much as I possibly can to see the truth of who we are. And so that's why the creator chose to partner with me, because he understood that that was my intention and that I would choose to overcome my fears as they block my path, as they, are presented to me. And I will allow myself to see them for what they are and choose to follow truth rather than my lies. Okay? And so the creator says, the truth is humans exist in a world where belief systems have damaged, you can feel it, have damaged our connections to our soul, have damaged our connections to the universe itself, to creation, to existence, all different things. Creation, existence, the universe, they're all very, very different things. They're all different parts of who you are and how you exist as a being, right? And a being, first and foremost, is vibrational energy. You are a current, right? A frequency and vibration. You're an energetic current that is a part of the universal current. And everything you do is impacting that universal current. And some things you do are greater than you ever believed possible. Those moments where you're like, yeah, I didn't think I could, but I did it. Those are the moments that the universe is taking a deep breath and a big sigh of relief because it knows that you accepted joy. You accepted that you are great and that you have incredible potential because the universe already knew that. It was just you that needed to be convinced. And even though you were unsure, you tried it anyways. And the universe sighed a huge sigh of relief. Why? Because every universal being already knew what you just learned. Every single time you accept your greatness, you impact the universe. This is how humanity is raising the vibration of existence in the planet. Not the planet itself, because Gaia is doing that work herself, Mother Earth, but of human existence. So the vibration of humanity on Earth, because it's a very three-dimensional, limited energy at this point, right? And so it continues to expand, and it's been expanding more and more, really for the past, well, numbers of generations. But it's understanding, okay, that the universe stacked the deck in its favor right now. And this is really important for you to hear. Every human that is incarnate right now in physical body knew they were coming in to transition humanity from completely not connected, right? Disconnected, to resurrection of complete connection with universal existence. You're part of that existence. And you're not just someone who's lost in the crowd. You're a leader. You're a star of this transition. Okay. So if you think about this for a moment, okay, there are 8 billion people on the planet, and that is only 3 to 4% of human souls in existence. So only 3 to 4 are incarnate. And yet, those 3 to 4%, right? That's 8 billion people, are the stars of the show. We are here because we understand the challenges that we need to overcome right now. We understand that seeing truth is more important than lies and discomfort. It doesn't mean that we're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be all in right away. Okay. What it means is we're all moving in that direction because it's an innate calling right now. It's like they're showing me all kinds of wild animals and following their instincts, right? Like procreation. Every single animal species on the planet naturally follows their ability to procreate. Why? Because they know that that's part of their evolution. That's part of their instinctual recognition of how they contribute to existence. And so what the creator is saying and what he's explaining is that every human who is currently present here has an innate gift that is important to human existence. And you need to resist looking at yourself, well, I'm just one little person. What does it matter? I'm in a sea of 8 billion. Well, you do matter. And this is the problem that you don't realize you're feeding because you don't think who you are is important. So when you feel disconnected in a relationship, when you feel disconnected from the work that you're doing, when you feel disconnected from your community and those people that surround you, instead of going, oh my gosh, everything is wrong and I don't know what to do, but I want to run away. What the Creator wants you to do is come back into yourself. Take some time. Doesn't mean a lot of time. It means, an hour or two. Go for a walk outside. Just get outside. Get out of your physical space that you are familiar with. Okay? In the sense of, this is who I am in this room and this is who I am in this room. He doesn't want you to be in that space. He wants you to be outside in his space. Okay? In nature, the space that was created to remind you of your natural instincts. Super important, because that's where you fill up and you feel energy. And he wants you to ask yourself what it is in you that feels disconnected in that environment. Okay? He wants you to recognize that whatever area of your life isn't working, right? You're not in that area. You've taken yourself out of it and you've put yourself in nature. And now you're asking yourself from a distance, where's the disconnection? What doesn't feel right? And then he wants to ask you if you can look at the other people as though they are a vital part of creation, existence, and evolution. And then ask yourself again, why don't you feel connected? The chances are pretty good that your answer is going to have something to do with either you don't feel you're worthy or they don't feel they're worthy. And that's where your clash is. That's where the disconnection is. And when I say worthy, I'm talking about understanding that your worth and your existence is part of the universe. It's part of evolution because that's what we're all contributing to. And we need to start seeing ourselves as a vital part of existence, not as just another one of the billion that are here. That's passive aggressive. That's poor me. That's feeling sorry for yourself. Oh, well, I'm just here. I don't really mean anything. Can you imagine if you're a parent and one of your children said, I don't really mean anything? How would that make you feel? What if the person you loved most in the world said to you, I don't really mean anything? How would you feel? That's what the Creator wants you to ask yourself. How are you treating yourself as a part of universal existence? Because if you're still treating yourself as, doesn't mean, I'm not that big of a deal. You are a big deal. Immense. Integral to the future of existence. You want to know why you're so scared of it? You want to know why you're so scared of reclaiming your power? Because for the last 50,000 years, humanity has been told power is control and manipulation. That's why you're scared of it. Because you're so worried that people are going to think you're trying to manipulate them and you're trying to control them. But you're not. Being yourself isn't control and isn't manipulation. Letting the world recognize that you have curiosities that are going to break down illusions and lies so the future of human existence the vibration can rise so truth can prevail. And I don't mean truth wins. I mean, truth lights the way for the future, because that's what the Creator deemed was going to happen 5 years ago when he changed the foundation of this universe's existence from love to truth. December 21st, 2020. That was it. He changed it. He changed it. Why? Because he understood. He understood that our world, the way we see ourselves, the way we see existence, is riddled with lies. And yet we don't see them as lies because we've been taught to study them. We've been taught that if you get these answers right, you're going to get a gold star. So those gold stars, you don't want to let them go. They define who you are. The problem is most of what you learned was based on control and manipulation. That's what we talked about in part 90. It's what we talked about in part 89. And it's understanding that right now we are on the brink of the potential to bring humanity back to its greatness, its full vibration and frequency, where nothing is lost and nothing is misunderstood. Nothing's lost in translation. Why? Because we don't need to translate. Because every single human being is in the frequency of truth. You exist within it. You're in constant connection with consciousness, with your soul, with your vibration in the universe, the impact that you have to make. And you're in constant relationship with consciousness, always understanding every aspect of what has come before so that you don't waste your time creating something else that's already been done, that you can actually break the limits and boundaries of current existence so you can contribute to consciousness. You can actually put something new in there that's never been done before. Why? So you can lead humanity into its potential, into its future. That's how great you are. That's what humanity is meant to be doing right now, reclaiming our power. But it's remembering that humans naturally and innately, we don't use power against each other. We don't need to. Because when you have a full sense of self, you don't need anything from anyone else. You 100% receive abundance in all the resources that you need to fulfill your vision. They come. The universe shows up in abundance. So you don't need to control or manipulate. You don't take from anyone else because you understand that creating limits for someone else limits your capacity to experience your potential. When we feed each other, everyone leaps forward. When we take from each other, we all hide in a big huddle and we can't move anywhere. That's what we've become. And this is where we're going as a human race. We're going to that place of truth, that place of freedom, where you can create and experience anything you want. But you have to first understand and recognize that you belong, that you're a part of this universe, and the universe is part of you. And together, you're creating something incredible. But you have to begin to act like you're a part of the universe. So when you need backup, when you need information, when you need support, when you need wisdom, you go to the universe to get it. But you got to remember that what you're going to learn there is going to most likely challenge the belief systems that you have intricately and intimately structured. You're attached to them. They're a part of who you are. And the universe wants to show you that you're actually a part, so much more than your beliefs. And this is where those big challenges in your life start to come up. Because they're opportunities for you to break down those lies. Every single one of your greatest challenges has been the universe showing up to show you where a part of your belief system is connected to lies. And it's time for you to become so much more. So I want you to go back and I want you to think about those challenges. Think about the moments you faced. And if you allowed yourself to look at yourself as a part of the universe in that experience, and every other person in that experience as a part of the universe, what could have happened differently if you believed that you were capable of anything and everything? We're going to go deeper into all this in the very near future. It keeps coming. That's the coolest part of exploring the universe is there's never, ever a lack of information. Why? Because the universe has been around for billions, well, trillions of years. More than that, it doesn't matter. It's been around for so long, there is no lack. There's none. There's always more. If you feel that this resonates with you, please subscribe and leave a comment. It helps the algorithm let everyone else know that this information is important. It's important to you, and it lets them know to share it with more people. I thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.